We're going to talk about horoscopes. Yeah, I'm going to talk about horoscopes. I'm going to share some information about some psychic predictions, horoscopes, things that I heard recently and things that I was told by somebody who was pretty talented, how all that works and how we are actually going to go into, we're going to go into an amazing year. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you how horoscopes come into play with that. And you get to decide what's real for you or not. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. Here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. I put turmeric in my coffee. Yeah. No, it doesn't taste bad. It tastes great. It's supposed to be really healthy for you. All right, we're going to talk about horoscopes. Now, I'm not a big fan of them, but I do believe that everything's energy. And I do believe that the planetary positions and everything, we've had seers and philosophers and astrologists and everybody throughout the centuries that have used the stars and the positions to know certain things beyond just when we should plant our crops. This is real stuff. Now, why is it real? I want you to think about this. We're one energy field. So when somebody walks in the room and they have a really low vibration, a negative energy, even if they're sitting there, have you ever done this? They're sitting there with a smile on their face and you're feeling like, oh, you get this real bad vibe from them. It's real. That is energy. And the same thing happens with anything else that changes positions, which is everything. So in order for us to constantly have new things come to our lives, new challenges, breakthroughs, all kinds of stuff, the program can't remain static. So we are in a matrix, self-created matrix. We agreed to come in here. We agreed to be challenged. So we sit here and of course things have to change. You know, you don't play Pac-Man and you just go through the, the pathway and nobody comes out and eats you up. I mean, yay, I won. This is what happens in our program in order to change things, challenge us. We have chosen response, free will to choose our response to that. Now, somebody comes in the room, I can either be really irritated or I can sit there and understand this is somebody else probably in a bad, negative space. I don't have to react negatively to it. The same thing for astrology. I want you to remember this because I am a firm believer that you don't tell me if I'm going to be happy next week. I firmly believe that you absolutely have full control no matter what anybody tells you. These are things that can happen, that will align for you, that maybe will present challenges for you, but do not have to take you into a space where you have no control over this. All right, does this make sense? Now, if you recall, I worked with an astrologist and I've had her on my channel. I might do that again. But I want to be very cautious with that because I want to make sure that whoever's talking to me isn't bringing their personal stuff in. Their fears, their opinions, politics, anything. I can't have any of that because then the information gets tainted. It is anyways. It's not really pure because we're an energy field. We're always going to affect it, how we see things and how astrologists interpret things and what they tell you is their own personality coming through that too. So never forget that. A lead astrologist, I actually don't even know her name. But I did see this and I did listen to it out of curiosity because supposedly this person has an unbelievable track record of telling people things. Now, once again, you know my thoughts about that, and that is, yes, actually you even have that ability. But here's how that works. You absolutely can change and control things. You can see the future. You can know things. You have intuition. We have all those abilities, some more than others, right? It's just like we have a diversified skills and talents. She shared about 2023, what I want to share with you today. She went through every sign, briefly, but through every sign. Every single sign had opportunities for abundance. And some more than others, but mostly all of them had positive expansion, opportunities, and abundance. Abundance, and I'm going to tell you why I believe that's a key word here. Now, why is that? Okay, if everything's aligning and changes the program, which, by the way, we are absolutely contributing to that. If the program changes and we all have a collective response that's different, which I believe that's what's happening. I keep sharing with you that our future is shifting because we are making different choices, higher choices. We're changing how we live. Then it would make sense that even though we're going into supposedly challenging times, big transitions, that they're going to be positive ones, because our response to whatever is aligned is going to be a good one. So again, I'll give you an example. When we went through our health challenge and we were, in lockdown, there's a big percentage of people that did amazing things and others who did not. This is no different. And astrology is the same way. So somebody could tell you something good or bad, either way. You still have control over. And I talked to my astrologist about this, a friend of mine, and she agreed. I said, there's nothing you tell me. She says, you really don't get into this. I said, no, because there's nothing you tell me that's going to tell my future. You can tell me, you can prompt me about things, you can tell me about energy fields and that, but that can work against you. So what if somebody told you you're going to have a bad day? 9 times out of 10, people have a bad day. They create it because they've been told that. And even if they don't believe it, they can still subconsciously create it. You got to be careful with this. This is why you got to be so careful with what you expose yourself to. And 2023 is going to be so important that we don't go into that space. So whatever energy fields that you are connected to, and however the planets align, it's all affecting us. So that is very real. Yeah, astrology is very real. So again, we underestimate our free will and responses to that. 2023, and I shared this with you, I believe is going to be a very positive, wonderful year for most people. Others will go into fear, and they're going to create that. What I also want to share with you, this is really important. I want you to stick with me here. We have to commit. I just did a video on Instagram. You have to commit to the tough stuff to get to the glory, to get to the triumph. We have to commit to the tough stuff. What does that mean? So when we go into these beautiful transitional years, which 2023 is going to be, we have to commit to work through the challenges that are going to change our lives, the things that we've been used to that, it's not easy to give certain things up, but when you find out what you're going to, you'll never look back. You'll think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was living that way. It was destructive. It was bad for the planet. It was bad for me. And then we go into another space. So you have to commit to the tough stuff. For myself, you want to run your own business? It doesn't just fall in your lap. You have to commit to stuff. Right now, I'm having to commit to just some tough stuff I don't like doing. But I cannot achieve my goals unless I do. Same thing with every energy field that's going to come in to alignment, to challenge us. It's a choice either way. Now, there's, of course, there's black, white, and gray and all in between. But my point being is that the higher choices versus the lower choices are yours no matter what happens with our planets. It's energy and a program presenting opportunities for us all the time. If you saw my prediction, this is really important because you can go back and watch my videos and see that I'm not making this stuff up. Before we got hit with our little health challenge, our big one, I predicted something very, very big was going to happen the next year. I didn't know what it was, but it was going to be really big, a huge shift, and I was telling people to get ready. So I spent that whole year telling people, get in alignment, get this in alignment, get in check, because when we go into whatever's going to happen, it's going to be huge. I said this right on video. It happened. Why? I was picking up on something. The same thing, you could do this. And same thing with astrology, you're picking up on the energy fields of the program shifting. Now, what I'm picking up right now, we're going into something beautiful. We're going to go into some challenges, but they're not going to be like I predicted last time, like, oh my gosh, brace yourself. It's not going to be that kind of challenge. It's going to be shifting and changes that are going to feel really good and right, and it's going to be exciting because you're going to see things fall away that you never really were happy with anyways. You know, wealthy people who aren't happy. Why is that? Well, money makes you happy. No, it doesn't. We're finding out all these things are false beliefs that we've been chasing, and that we can do these things in a way that makes sense, because we're going to go into Community and Collaboration 2023. So the astrological predictions of this gal was, by the way, May was a big turning point. Between now and May, we have some wonderful things happening, but May is when everybody was shifting into some big changes. So remember that, May of 2023. I personally am not picking up on that because I am not a psychic, but I do get some imprints of things that are to come in the short term. I've had long-term visions of things, and they have changed. So those of you who've said that you used to dream of floods, I was dreaming of floods all the time, and all of a sudden they stopped. I dreamt of earthquakes. I dreamt of certain things that some of them did happen on a low scale, and then my visions stopped because we're changing them. But short term is, I'd say, the next year. I truly believe that it's going to be a glorious year for those who see the change as a welcome opportunity to shift into a life that we've never lived here on this planet before. Those of you who come over and sign up with my list, if you're already in my list, look at the bottom of every email. You'll see the opportunity for a free webinar. I keep talking about these guys about living your life off-grid, but creating homesteads and lives that you never imagined possible. Groups of people getting together and creating beautiful communities, retreats, schools. One of my students, she's amazing. She's got a school that she got funded to help underprivileged kids. Things people would say are impossible. The impossible is possible. And that's going to start in 2023. The other thing, too, is you're going to have more psychic abilities. You're going to find yourself knowing things easier, quicker. It's going to come more naturally for you, because the more we let go of the fear, and the fear of change, and the fear of future, this is why you got to watch those predictions. You can scare the crap out of yourself if you think that it's in stone and it can't change. Or you can change it. All right? So you can pick up on this. Do you feel it too? I'll bet you feel right now that something really great's going to happen. That it's just, and in my opinion, it's going to be a series of things. It's not going to be just one big event. I feel that it's going to be a series of changes and tipping points. All right? I do feel we're going into a big tipping point. I think we've already hit the tipping point. So you have every reason to get excited, or you can stay in fear. You guys come on over and take my 4 proven steps to manifest anything. And it starts with one thing: end the stories of fear. You're creating them. And if you say, no, it's somebody else telling me that, well, you have to be looking at that story in the first place to believe it. I can look at those stories all day. I don't. It's a waste of my personal time. Why? I'm in control of my reality. And the other thing is, if it happens, I still choose my response. I don't have to go into fear. It can be very uncomfortable. We're going to be challenged. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be struggle, fear, uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be any of that. It's going to be an opening and gateway for everyone if they choose it. All right, so I hope you'll subscribe. And these are free videos to launch online businesses. Do the tough stuff. Learn things. Do things that you don't necessarily want to do, because the result is going to be amazing. And get through it, and that's going to be 2023, is having to make some decisions and get uncomfortable to go into that glorious transformation. Use community, use your community and collaborate. That's what's going to strengthen us and take us in a massive way to a great, beautiful awakening, a shift. It's going to be wonderful. And then it's going to continue on from there. And then we'll have some other things happening in the future, but we'll talk about that when we get closer and we know our response. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.